Okay. Can you all see the screen? The browser?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me just tell you what merging is. Merging is combining two data sets. Okay. And merging is a very specific term. You usually say that you want to combine two data sets, and two forms of combining is merge and append. Okay, so I'll tell you what merging means and what append means. So look at this thing. This is your observation, child number one, child number two, three, four, five, six. So these are your observation. You can also call them your cross-sectional units, let's say. Okay. Now, these observations here in the first table, okay, can also be perceived as the IDs. So because you're saying these are your cross-sectional unit, these have to be unique individuals, right? Unique children. So this can be your ID. Now for this each child, you have these three variables, which is age, sex, education, which tells you information about ID1, ID2, ID3, and so on. Okay, so this is the differentiation between what observations are and what variables are. So it says that the observations are the rows in the data set, rows, right? Whereas variables are the columns in the data set, which provides unique piece of information about each observation. Okay, observation, or as I said, say cross-sectional unit. Then they tell you what a master data set is and what a using data set will be. But before that, let's see what merging and appending means. So look at this data sets. Let's say this is your data set you start working with. Now, master data set usually is the term that is being used for the data set that you have with you on this data. So I start with uploading a data set, and then I want to merge another data set into the data set that I have with me, right? So I'm trying to merge another data set into the data set which is right there in front of me on my screen, the data set that I have already uploaded. So that is called the master data set. Getting it, everyone? Please interrupt
Yes,
us.
ma'am.
Okay. So this is my master data set, the data set that I've just uploaded on the software. Now, there can be two ways of combining data set. One, I said merging, and the other is appending. So what we are doing is merging is nothing but it's the horizontal combining of two data sets, whereas appending is the vertical combining of two data sets. So look at this first table here. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, same observations. Here you have variable 1, 2, 3 and variable 4, 5, 6. So it means that, let's say, in your master data set, you had information about your children only, about their age, sex, and height. And then in another data set, you have information on, say, his gender and family attributes or any other variable. So I'm actually trying to merge two data sets, that is keeping for the same variable, for the same observations. I'm just increasing the variables. Getting it? That is your merging, horizontal. All right. What do we understand by appending? Is that you increase the observation while your variables remains the same. Okay. So this is appending. That is vertically adding to the master data set. Do you understand what merging and appending means? Any doubt in that? Please say yes, no, anything.
Yes, got it.
Okay. Then one of the ways in which DHS dataset, that is your NFHS dataset, might be required you might require to use merging and appending within the DHS dataset is this one example. So if you have downloaded the dataset, you'll see that you have an IR file. IR file is for the women, and then you have a men file, which is MR. So IR is individual record, MR is men record. Okay. And then you have another file which is for HIV. If you have downloaded the dataset from the DHS website, as I told you, you will have these numbers of files. Now here, what I can do is I want to create a couples recode, let's say. okay, that I want to have men and women together, or forget about couples. Let's say I just want all the individuals together, men and women, both together, and I want to check their HIV status, or I want to analyze their HIV infection status and other variables. Okay, so how will we do that? We have the women data set and the men data set. Okay, so of course, because we want all individuals together, it has to be the append, right? So observation 1, 2, 3 goes for women, then you'll add the other observation which are for men, variables remaining the same because you want the same information. You have the same information for women and men. Understood? Now there is this another data set which has the HIV information for all these participants. Okay, so this HIV data has all men as well as women, and it has this fourth variable which talks about the HIV status. So, because I want to analyze HIV infection status and other demographic which are available in the women and men files, what I'll do is I'll merge. So, step one, women and men append. Okay, you will append the women file and the men file. Step two, you'll merge this new data set with that of your HIV data set. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So this was the concept that for several questions, to answer several questions, you might need to uh, do this merging and appending exercise, because let's say there is a question, for example, in this particular case, your question, your variable of interest is HIV. And you, if you, even if you want to run a regression analysis here, if you want to do a regression analysis here, say whether a woman or a man or an individual has a HIV, is HIV positive or not. In that case, you need this data set, but as control variables or as your independent variables, you need other information as well, which comes from these two data sets. Right? So depending on the question, you might need to merge several data sets. Right? Now I'll tell you. Yes. Now I'll tell you what and how you have to merge and append. So for appending, the step is really easy. It's a very simple command. I think it's here. Let me just show you how to do append. So because you want to look here, the variables or the column heads have to be the same, only then it makes sense for you and for the software to append the two data sets. Right? So if here it was variable 1 and if here it was written as V1, then this data will not be able to append, right? And it won't be readable for you as well. Correct? So step 1 in order to append is to have the same variable name in both your master file, and the second file is called the using file, USING. So this is your master file, as in you have opened this file first and then you are appending another file, which is your using file, into your master file. So while doing that, you have to make sure that the column variables have the same name. All right. And that is what they have done here as well. So we'll see how you will see practically also how to append and merge. But see here, what they have done is they have renamed the variable. So this MV001 was in the men's file, and this they have renamed to V001. V001, if you remember the previous lecture, was the information portrayed about women. So they have actually renamed men's information to that of the information of the variable mentioned in the women file. Okay, so rename MV001, V001. So these are the variables. Okay, they have renamed it, and then let me just see. Yeah, once they have renamed it, they have used the command append. So append using. So your women file was the master file, and then they have done append using, and this is your men data. So the first command here, if you can see, is use women. So they have started with the women data set. Again, women data set is your master file then. Second step is append using the main data. Okay. And then you can always, just to be sure, you can always tab gender and count that you have the same amount of men and women in your data set, like they have done here. Is there any doubt? Any doubt?
Can you show the previous command?
Which command? There was no command. These are the commands. Use.
The one before it.
Sorry?
The one which was before it.
I can't hear you. I can't understand.
I'm asking about the first command which you have given. Append.
This is the command. There wasn't a first command. So first you open the data set. You open women data set. Rename. Are you talking about rename?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So as I said, you have to have the variables in the same name. So you rename one of the files variables to that of the other files variable.
What
So
is this command long ID equals to
yeah, you
1000
can
plus
ignore this for a while. Just keep in mind the rename thing.
got it. Okay, ma'am.
Even in C here, they haven't really used. They have okay, yeah. So this was append. I hope append is clear. Let's move on to merge now. So merge, there are three examples of merging two data sets, and I'll show you what are those three. So there are three commands or three ways in which you can merge. One is 1:1. Okay, you can see 1:1 here. Right, you are able to see, correct? This highlighted part, you all can see.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, one is 1:1. Then you have this M:1. Okay, and yeah, 1 M:1 or 1:M. It's the same thing. So let me just tell you what's the difference between the two. Look at this. Look at this page. Here, this is my data one, and this is my data two. My data one, my data two. Right? Look at the data. It says country A, country B, country C. You can see only three unique IDs, right? Observations. Correct? Unique IDs are three, A, B, and C. Right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, in my data two, I again have A, B, and C. And then, of course, this year, which is common. Then I have Y here, Y variable here. And I don't have Y variable here. X1, X2, X3 is here. Then here I have X4, X5, X6. And another variable order. Now, if I want to merge, of course, you can merge these two data sets, right? Horizontally, right? Because you have the same cross-sectional units. So when I merge, I will apply 1:1. Why am I doing this? Because you have the same number of, say, cross-sectional units, the same IDs. It's the same IDs, more precisely, it's the same IDs. It's country ABC, it's country ABC here. So I'm using 1:1 because you're mapping 1:1. You're mapping it parallelly to the same country. Okay, so the same country is being mapped to the same country. It's that. So I'll put the command merge 1:1. Then I have country here. Country is my unique ID and the common identifier. Okay. Country is my unique ID and the common identifier. And what else do you see is the common identifier here?
Year.
Year. So I have country and year. Now this is the common identifier. You should not say that this is, so understand that whenever you are merging, where after entering the command like this, merge 1:1, country, year, you're not really adding all the variables which are common in the two data sets. No, you're not doing that. You are trying to add, you're trying to use the common identifier. And I'll show you how you'll find the common identifier and what are the variables precisely that are helpful in identifying the common identifier. But okay, just for the sake of simplicity and to understand the concept, just say that we have country and year, which are the common identifier. And then I do merge 1:1 country year using my data 2. So my data 1 was my master file and my data 2 is my using file. All right. Once I merge this, see, this is how my merged data set look like. Country A, B, C, year, of course, year will get merged, right? It's the same variable. Then you have y bin, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6, and order. So all the variables are here together in one file. And then I have a new variable, which is this merge underscore merge. Okay. Now, what is this underscore merge telling me? It's telling me that, see, look here, the result matched underscore merge is equal to 3. So every time you merge, it creates a new variable which tells you that the data set has completely gotten together. So it's completely matched. Okay. And it's coded as 3. All right. Any doubt here? This was the simplest case. If there's no doubt, I'll move on to the next case. Okay.
Ma'am, what,
Yes, what's the doubt?
ma'am, what if the number doesn't match? Like there are unequal number of rows.
Coming on to that. So example 2, look at example 2. Here in my data 1, you have A, B, and C, right? But here in my data 3, you have information about only 2 countries. So here you have 3 countries and here you have 2 countries, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now what will happen when you merge? Again, you have to apply the 1:1 because each country is matched. So the 2 countries are matched to each other. So the command will be 1:1 only. But now you will see that, of course, this is a smaller data set. I mean, that there will be this observation for country C that will have nothing to merge with my data set 3, correct? So country C will have nothing to be matched with my data set 3, right? Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when I merge, when I give the command, I see that not match is from the master file, which is 4 observations. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 entries for the country C. This is not matched. Whereas the entire data 3, because it has A and B, which is there in data 1, the entire data 3 will be merged. So not matched has 0 observation from using. Using means the using file. And 8 observations are merged, which is 4 entries of A and 4 entries of B. Here, 4 entries of A, 4 entries of B. Understood? So then see, not matched, merge equals to 1, merge equals to 2, merge equals to 3. So now your merge variable is telling you what all observations are matched and what all observations are not matched and from which data file. So it says matched 3, which is completely matched. 1 is not matched from master's file. So this means that this particular entry C is only in the master's file and not in the using file. So here for variables x4, x5, x6, you have blank or missing entries. Do you understand this? Any doubt? If you can't understand, please tell me.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of keep if underscore merge equal to 3?
Nothing, is just the way it's quoted. So 3 means matched. One means
Okay.
not matched. Yeah. It's just telling you that merge is equal to 1. So when you do stata is equal to is coded as double equal to in certain commands, not always. All right. Can I move ahead if there's no doubt?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Okay. Now is the third example, and this is very important, usually used. Now see here. Your data one has 1, 2, 3, 4 entries of the country A, and again 4 entries of country B and 4 entries of country C. Okay. And your data 4 has just one entry of country A and one entry of country B and one entry of country C. And because your data set has to be in the long form, it's the long form, right? So you have 4 entries for country A because this is the long form. You understand what is long and what is wide? So long is this. So for the first country, now this is a time series data. For the first country, you have information about year 2000, then 2001, then 2002, then 2003. So therefore, you have the 4 entries here for country A. And then for each of the year, you have their variables. You have their information, corresponding information about other variables. This is a long form. Where it long form is what? Another way of writing this is country. You could have written year 2000, 2001, 2002, 3 here in the variables. Let me just give you an example of long one. To take this example, it has name, Jim, and Mike. You all can see, right?
Yes,
That
ma'am.
you all can see, right? Now, see, name, Jim, and Mike. Then you have information about the amount each salesperson sold. Okay, so Jim sold $100 in Jan, $200 in Feb, and so on. Similarly, Mike sold $200 in Jan, $250 in Feb, and so on. Now, this is the wide form. Okay. Now, if I can just convert the same data set into the long form, this will be something like this. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 12 entries for Jim, starting from Jan, Feb to December. Okay. And similarly for Mike. Take this case. Name, Jim, Mike, month, Jan, Feb, sales, items count, hours worked. This is the information. So what they have done is, they have created the wide form into the long form. That is, for the same Jim, you make Jan, Feb as month variable. Okay, and then for each month, you have their corresponding values. So this is the long form, and this was the wide form. Do you see the difference between the two? The wide and long? Do you understand the difference? See another example. A, B, C, D, you have wide form points, then assist, then rebounds. How to convert this wide format into long format is that you create another variable, say variable, and increase the rows. So for these three, you have 3 entries here as team name A. Then you write the variable points and its value here. Please tell me if you understand the difference between wide and long.
Yes, got it.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Great. So back to what we were discussing. We were here. So this is the long format, right? A, B, C, and then you have year. Right here, you have just three values and another variable which is x7. So now if you want to merge it, x7 will appear as another variable C, right? X7 will appear, has to appear as another variable here. Are you able to see the cursor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great. So x7 will appear as here. And of course, since it is 100, 200, 300, which is like one value for A, the value will repeat. So for all four entries of A, you will have the same 100. Again, for B, you'll have the same 200 and so on. So this is how the merging will look like. The merged data set will look like. Now, the command here. Now, this is a very important thing to understand. Here, you have many entries for A, right? And just one entry for country A. So, and similarly for B and C. So here you will apply M is to 1. You are actually mapping many to 1. Or in other ways, 1 to many. So it won't be a 1 is to 1. It will be many to 1. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
If there's a doubt, please ask. Okay. Now I'll ask you a question and you tell me whether this will be a 1 is to 1 or M is to 1. Okay. The first question is, I want to map the household. So I have a data set which has information about household 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay. And this data set has information about household's income status, right? What all variables do you use to measure income? Say the kind of toilet that the household has, whether the household has piped water or not, okay? Whether the household owns a TV, and so on. So there is one data set in which I have the information about household's income or wealth indicators, right? And then I have another data set in which I have the information on, say, households, land and livestock possessions, right? So in one, I have the wealth indicators, and in other, I have the livestock and land possession, information on livestock and land possession. What will you use here? Merge, append, if merge, then which one? What will you use?
Use merge 1 is to 1.
Merge.
Merge 1 is to 1.
Yes,
Everybody?
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
good. Now see another example. Now take the first data set to be the same, which was what? Wait. Yeah, so let's take the first data set to remain the same, and it was your household information on wealth index, right? Now my second data set has changed. My second data set has information on each of the members of the household. So household 1 has 4 members, okay? And so household 1 has 4 entries, and the next variable has individual 1, individual 2, individual 3, individual 4, right? So my first variable is still the same. It is the household variable which has information on households wealth indicator. But now my second data set has information on households members. You understood? What
Yes.
will you do in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
How will you combine the two data sets?
We'll do M is to 1 considering the M entries. One is the data which has multiple households. And then
No. So my master file is the first data set which has wealth indicators, and now the second file is the using file which has variables on or which has information on members of the household. Now tell me
Okay.
whether what will it be?
Is there 1 is to M, like 1 to many
Yes,
option there?
there is. Yes.
Okay, so 1 is to M then.
Yes, it will be 1:m because each household is mapped to multiple members. Correct? Any doubt here? Anybody?
No, ma'am.
Sorry?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Similarly, another last example. Say I have my children data set and a data set, and again you'll see NFHS file. It has its name, it's in the name of KR, the KR file. Now in the KR file, I have information about the children. Okay. And I have my IR file, which has information about the women. Okay. Now, when you will merge it, what will be the command? Children and
Merge only.
sorry,
One set is of the like the female's mother
IR
kind
is
of.
for women,
Okay. Okay.
and KR, the first file, is for children.
Okay.
Yes. Now tell me.
We'll be using merge command only then also.
Of course, it will be merged, right? But then what? 1:1, M:1, 1:M. Which one?
I think 1 is to 1 for each children and for each women.
Ma'am, the KR file is our first data set, right?
Is that what? Sorry.
Is our first data set. And
Yeah.
the IR file is the second.
Yes.
Then we'll
Yes.
use M:1 merge.
Yes, because one woman can have more than one children. It won't be 1:1. It will be many children can be mapped to one woman. It also will be no, consider the case that a woman has no child. Then again, you will be able to merge because there might be certain entries in which a woman has no child, but in that case, it will be left as blank, right? For that particular woman, the entries will be blank, which is okay. We saw the second case, right? So as long as one of the data sets is completely merged, you can be certain that your merging exercise is done correctly. Understood? Everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So now, having understood the concepts, let me just give you a brief. Let me just give you two examples on how do you merge. I'll share my screen 1 second. So having understood the concept, another important thing is to know what are your common identifiers. Okay, now if you go to DHS dataset here, this particular dhsprogram.com, again, the same website, it has this DHS program data merging dataset. It has a full-fledged page that tells you how do you merge dataset. And in here, not only it explains the merging concept, but it also tells you the unique case identifiers. Okay, so for household, it is HHID. HV001, HV002. For women, it is this, and so. And it also tells you the matching variable. So remember in the example, the matching variable was what? Country and year, right? Here, it tells you the matching variables is this. This table is telling you the matching variables, which are used, which you will be using in order to merge the two data sets. So see here, what it says is, if you want to match the variables for women with that to the children. Okay, so your variables would be what? V001, 002, 003. And for children again, V001, 002, and 003. So if you want to match or merge children with that of women, this is the matching variable. Okay. Similarly, if you want to merge children with that of households, you will use V001 and 002. Okay. In order to merge women with that to men, you will create a couples file, right? Which will be MV001, 002 and MV034. Now, this is an exercise. I will do the case of women and children with you. I will also do the case of household and women with you. You go home and try for the couples case. All right. So here you will get the information on what are the common identifiers, and even if they don't give you, you can always spend some time on reading the dataset, understanding the datasets, using the file decode file and all the files that I shared with you last time. You can always go and give some time to understand how the data is designed, and that is precisely why I discussed the sampling design in the previous class. So we'll see that these variables are nothing but the cluster name, the household number, and so let's just open Stata. I'll open Stata and I'll just start. Okay. So this is Stata and it's just open. So I have downloaded, I downloaded last night only. This is how the dataset looks like. BR, IR, HR, CR, KR, PR. So let's start with IR dataset. It says that only 5,000 variables are allowed, so I'll do set max variable, say 10,000. And now I'll again open. So I have my data sets here, okay? And what did now back to, it says that the matching variables for women and children will be B001, 002, 003, right? Let's go back to Stata and see what the variables. I'll do this. Browse V001, V002, V003. And what is V001? V001 is cluster number. V002 is household number. V003 is respondent's line number. So again, these are the variables that will help you create the common identifier. That from this cluster number, this household number has to resonate with this respondent. Right? So see, V1001 has 101, 102. And so 2 entries for the same cluster. Then for the same cluster, it has this. It is coded 1 for the household number, and then individual 5 and individual 6 is the respondent's line number, which means among, let's say there are 6, 7 members in the household, and 5 and 6 is coded to the 2 women. You understand this? Are you all getting it? Reading the dataset, understanding the dataset. So cluster number 1 is coded as 101. Within this cluster, this one household, you have information about this one household, and then V003 is respondent's line number, which means from this one household, individual 5 and 6 were the women, and therefore they are here in the women file. Getting it?
Yes, what?
Yes.
Okay. Once you have, okay, this is my women file, and if I'll open my children file, which is the KR. it also has V001, 002, 003. So I don't need to rename the variables here. Okay. But what we need to do is we need to sort. Now that I have sorted, you see it has started with the same way. 101, 10, 10, 10 is the household line number, and then again individual. Okay. So this is important. Once you have renamed, now here I didn't need to rename. So once you have renamed the variable, of course, the common identifier has to have the same name, right? Only then you can merge through that. So here I don't need to rename. I just sorted the variables, and once I've sorted, I'll save this file. So I'll save it as save child. Okay. Now I'll go back to my women file. And I'll do the same exercise. I'll sort it. Now that I have sorted, now I will put in the command. Now tell me, what will I do? Merge. Let me just save this as women also. Right. Because women file is a heavier file, it sometimes takes a lot of time. Let me just save this file as save WN. WN stands for women. Okay. So I've saved this now for women. And now I know that both of these files has went to the same directory. So what I'll do is merge. Then M is to 1, 1 is to M, or 1 is to 1. I have the women file in front of me.
One is to M.
1 is to M. Using child. I saved it as child, yes. Okay, I missed the variable, sorry, yes. Yeah, so the variables were V001, V002, and V003, right? The common identifier. And it takes some time because the file is a bit heavy. Yeah, see. This is probably how the new data set is defined that I'm getting these, I don't know, this information, but until 2015-16 it wasn't the case. So yeah, this is my result, final result. And what do I say? That the using file was the child file, right? As I said, the child file, because of course each child will have a mother, but or a woman as mother, but it's not necessary that every woman is a mother or has a child, right? So from using, not matched is 0, right? And total
Right.
matched is 232920, which means each mother is merged or matched to her child, right? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Great. So
And
now
how do we know like what number of women did not match?
it's written here 547272.
Merge one means not matched.
Not matched, it's written here, no? Not
Okay,
matched
okay, okay,
from
okay.
master. Merge one. So it's telling you
Okay.
in all possible ways. It's telling you in words, and then if you go to the data set, because this table will vanish as soon as you start working, right? Then how will you know? So it has created a new variable underscore merge, which is telling you whether the observation is matched or not. Master only matlab this particular observation is in the master file only and not in the child file or the using file. Got it?
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
So if there's no doubt, I'll just clear and start with the next example. No doubt. Okay, so clear. Now let's try. Uh, so I tried with PR and women also. Let me just open the do file. So the next way I did was PR file. PR file was it was the file which has the which has the information for the members of the household. Okay, I'll open this. Open in the data set. I have the PR data set. Now we have already seen the women file, right? That it had variable V001002003. Now this is the PR file, which is the person recode or personal recode. That is information on each member of the household. Now, of course, there will be some information which this data set has, uh, which is not exclusive to women, right? That is why you have a separate women questionnaire. Correct. So if I want to merge household file with that to women file, what will I do? Of course, the common identifier, as we saw, is what? HV001 and 002. Household and women. V001, 002. Right? This is what? Cluster number again and household number again. Okay. Now let me just see if I can merge it using HV003. Let's see. So first step is rename. I can rename it as V001. This I will rename as V002 because it's there in the, it's like that in the women file, right? And just, I want to try whether this works for, and now if I just merge it, data, combine data set, merge to data set. So why am I doing it from there? Because my directory, the women file is in a very specific directory and this file is in a very different location. So you can do it either way. You can either go to the this bar, which is what Windows bar, and go do it like this, or you can enter the command manually, merge this, and then you just have to enter the right address. All right. Once again, household to women. What should it be?
One too many.
Will it be one too many?
Yes.
One.
Uh,
See, if a household, as I said, this is a household file. It has information on each member of the household.
okay. Okay.
Right. So if there are 5 women, there will be information on the 5 women here.
All right. All right. Yes.
In the women file again, the same women is being interviewed. There will be one to one. Let's try many to one though. There might be something. Let me just do V001. Key variable V001, V002, V003. And then when I browse, I want to go to the women file that I've saved because the variables are sorted here, right? So when I do this, we have to wait. In the meantime, let me just tell you that this might appear very easy to you because you know what the common identifiers is. Okay. However, at a lot of times and a lot of data set, you don't already have that information which NDHS is already providing you. So the only tricky part is to have the common identifier, is to identify what variables are your key identifiers. Okay. And that kind of exposure NSSO data sets gives you. So if you really want to do more of merging and understand how the two data sets can be merged and to learn more into data analysis, then you should try the same exercise with NSSO data set. Download one of the data sets and read what all variables are there and try merging. All right. I don't know how long will this take. In the meantime, what I can do is I'll just copy paste the links on the chat so that you don't have to. Probably because we are trying to merge m is to 1, it's taking a lot of time. So what I'll do is I'll just stop. Not even stopping.
एक्सक्यूज मी मैम।
Yes.
मैम वो मर्ज वाला कमांड एक बार शो लैपटॉप पे करिएगा।
ये किया तो था अभी. The last command is merge वाला command only, ना?
हाँ, वो जो लोकेशन वाला कमांड था मर्ज 00123 के बाद।
Using the name of the file, more like the from with the location. So see, it's the location, users, Shivani library, cloud storage, Dropbox, and then the file name is women. So if the directory is the same, you don't have to write the location, the entire file location. Okay, but because my PR file is in another location, is in the other folder, and the women file is in the other folder, I had to put the entire address here.
ओके।
Okay, so another way that we can try this, and probably the previous command you all can try at home. I don't know what happened to my data. What another thing you can do is you can try 1:1. And that you can do by actually taking into account the variable that records the women as the member of the household. So of course, the cluster and the household number will remain the same. So what I'll do is rename HV001 as V001. Again, the same exercise. Rename HV002 as V002. Now for the respondent's line number, the number of the respondent, what I'll do is I'll go down and you have from here, see, HA00, index to household schedule. So basically this variable index your household schedule to other schedules, which were the women's schedule, the men's schedule. If you remember the questionnaire, you call them as schedules, right? And then starting from HA1 is women's information. So HA0, if I'll just browse V001, V002 and HA0. You see, this is the same thing, cluster, household number, and this is indexing. Now this index is to women. Okay, HA0 is indexed to household schedule to women. HC0 is indexed to household schedule with that of the child. Are you getting me, guys? So what it says is that of these, so what has happened in NFHS? It records the information for all the women in the household, all the members of the household, right? So let's say in a household, there were 3 women. Now among those 3, say it takes or it interviews 2 for the women's schedule, right? There is a women's schedule which is separate from the household schedule, correct? So this HA0 is basically mapping that index with that of this women's information. Similarly, HC is mapping for the children. You go down, this is mapping to the household schedule, which you have the other file. And then you'll have one for male as well. So HA0 is the variable which I'll rename as HA0 as V003. Please tell me if you're able to understand what I'm saying here. I'm saying that the respondent that is being interviewed in the women file, which is here recorded as V003 in the women file, the respondent's line number, that variable is coded as HA0 here. And why is so? I just showed you that among all the women in a household, they are interviewing, say, 2 or 3. And now those 2 or 3 are indexed with the variable using the variable HA0. Okay? Is that clear? Is that clear?
Got slightly confused in the. Can you repeat once more?
Yes, I'm saying, see, here it says respondent's line number, HV003. Okay,
Right.
now these line number will be each individual in the household.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just show you. HA0, V003, not V003. HV003. Okay, first let's sort. Sort V001, V002, HV003, and HA0. Now we'll do the yeah, browse. Now see, 101 was the cluster number, right?
Right.
V002 was the household number, 1, 10, 14, and so, right?
Yes.
HV003, it says 2 here,
Okay.
then 5, then 1. This is not exactly the respondent's line number that we want in order for you to match with that of the woman. Whereas here, HA0, number 2, number 4, number 5, number 6, these are the women in the household. I'll also take HC0 here again. See this. V001 was cluster household respondent line number. This is index to household schedule, and this is also index to household schedule. HA and HC0. But after HA0, you had information on women. After HC0, you had information on child.
Okay.
Okay, so this HA0 is telling you all the individuals within this household which are used in interviewing using the women's schedule. Similarly, HC0 is telling you, not HC0 wasn't sorted. Let me sort this again. HC0 is again telling you the child which is being interviewed from that particular household. So 2, 5, and 3. What does it mean?
Number of children.
No. The code that is assigned to the child, not number of children. Index 2.
And ma'am, in HA0, it's about women,
It's
right?
about women, yes.
So we are assigning code like 2 for women and 4 for women.
Women number, individual number 4 in the household, which is a woman, which is then interviewed using the women's schedule.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, see here once again. If I can just show you. If I write HA, see 0 index to household schedule, then you have information on women.
Got it, ma'am. Got it.
Got it? So I will rename HA0 as V003 because this is the line number. This is the same variable with that to the women file. Remember what was B003 in women file? It was respondent's line number. This is that here. So I'll rename as HA0 V003. But this will help me in 1:1. So I will do merge. Okay, let me just save this as HH. Okay. Give it some time. Okay, it's safe. Now I'll do this merge 1:1. What were the common identifiers? V01, V002, V003 using HH. No, women. How did we save women? Women data, right? Yeah. Okay, it's the file is changed. Anyhow, let's do it like this. One is to one, V001, V002, V003. Let me browse. Oh my God. Let me just see 1 second. But we can also do this. Wait. Okay, so are you guys still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we can see that this data set is again matched, and what hasn't matched is from the using data set, the other data set. So this master data set, sorry, I'm sorry, I said the reverse. I said everything has matched from the using data set, because as I told you that among the total individuals in the household, some are chosen to be interviewed using the women's schedule, right? So every woman who's there in the women's schedule will be there in the household data set, this data set, PR data set, right? So it's 0 from the using, which is our women data, and certain values which didn't match are of course from the household data set, which has information on not just women but men, children, and everything. Do you understand what we did? Why 1:1? Why key variable being V003 as HA0? Any doubt here?
No.
So yeah, that was merging for you all. The next lectures will be taken by Krishna sir. If there's no doubt, I will just stop my share here and I'll stop the recording as well. So this is merged. Okay, I'll stop.